Hello, hello, and welcome to PS10 Radio. I am your host, Anjalon, and today I am interviewing Clover Johnston. Let me tell you about Clover. Clover Taylor Johnston is a faith-filled co-parenting coach, mother of three adult daughters, and the founder of the Co-Parent Accelerator Transformation Program. Clover's journey began in the most unimaginable way, abandoned by her husband just weeks after giving birth to her second daughter, in the immediate aftermath of a catastrophic hurricane. Left initially without financial or emotional support, she faced an overwhelming reality, but chose healing over bitterness, agency over victimhood, and faith over fear. Now, Clover helps women who are co-parenting with emotionally unavailable partners, especially those grieving a marriage that ended without validation or closure. Her work gives voice to ambiguous and disenfranchised grief while offering both emotional healing and practical tools. Clover's motto is, "It's hard to be fruitful while you're holding on to what's hurtful." And today, she's here to help you release the pain and step into power. Welcome, Clover. How are you today?
I am great, thanks. It's my pleasure to be here.
Great. I'm so beautiful. I really could resonate with when I saw that you were a co-parenting coach, and I know that we were on the same platform. We were both kind of advertising and just sharing like what we do, what kind of coach we were. And I saw that you were a co-parenting coach, and knowing that my podcast focuses on parenting and self-care, I was really, really interested because I too am a divorcee. I too have older kids, and at one point I experienced the same thing that you went through as far as someone just emotionally not being able to hold up their end of the bargain as far as parenting and not being available and having to kind of carry that weight. Um, so I and just going through the whole, you just trying to keep yourself together, but you're also trying to raise children. So I totally understand where you're coming from. Can you give us a background on like what your story is?
Okay, so if I can just quickly run through it. Um, I was on maternity leave at the time. My then husband had lost his job around the March, April.
Hmm.
Our baby was due in August. And you can't definitively say what's happening in another person's life, but in retrospect, you can actually piece the puzzle together. So he had been thrown emotionally off kilter from the loss of a job because many people don't realize how significant a career and a job is to certain people. It becomes part of your identity.
Right.
So having lost that, I think he sort of went off kilter.
Hmm.
But in retrospect, I also discovered that he had been involved, or I'm not sure what stage, but he was involved in a relationship.
Okay.
So that would have complicated certainly the way you are framing the issue of family and family commitment.
Hmm.
I did not know this at the time, but I learned after.
Right.
So I had recently been transferred from one department in banking to another department. A really thoughtless decision on the part of my then supervisor, but it it was what it was.
Yeah.
So I go to this new department and I'm pregnant and I am barely holding it together physically because I am having severe morning sickness, really
Hmm.
severe morning sickness, because I think at this time I was just at the ending of my first trimester.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really a rough season, and I'm learning new stuff. I'm barely able to cope, and I'm just barely able to get through the day, go home, and drop into bed. And that just continued um, for quite a few months.
Mm-hmm.
So just trying to get through each day and get through the pregnancy.
Right.
Um, I am not sure what month it is, but this is very close to the end of my pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a conversation with my then husband, and I cannot remember the details of it, but whatever the conversation was, he became enraged and I was slapped in the face.
Oh, wow.
And I was in deep shock. When something like that happens to you and you're not accustomed to violence,
Mm-hmm.
you go into so much shock that you don't talk about it. In fact, I only began speaking about it last year in one of my
Really?
podcasts.
Wow. Okay.
And when I began speaking about it, I understand why people who suffer, especially sexual abuse, can go
Mm-hmm.
for years without ever sharing about it,
Yeah.
because there is so much cognitive dissonance in what you experience and the
Mm.
shock of not expecting it in my case,
Mm-hmm.
that I was just so stunned
Right.
that how could that happen to me?
Yeah.
So anyway, I just tried to make it through. So that added to my stress levels. So you
Okay.
had work stress, you had the stress of him not working, and
Mm-hmm.
now you have somebody who has been violent towards you.
Yeah.
So I am just trying to really get through to the end of this pregnancy. So anyway, the doctor hospitalizes me for stress because she just saw that I wasn't coping.
Mm-hmm.
My vital signs at one time were not looking good. So I think I was hospitalized for a week.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, I came out of the hospital, um, went back to work for a short time,
Mm-hmm.
and I gave birth to the baby early August of that year.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you're in postpartum now. So
Yeah.
you're trying to focus on your child, make sure your child is well fed. I was breastfeeding and just
Mm.
trying to normalize your own life in terms of staying physically healthy
Yeah.
and just, hoping that whatever is happening, that it just begins to settle down. But it
Right.
doesn't,
Oh,
because he still hasn't got a job. And now it's August. And I remember saying to him, at the time, you should aim to try and get back a job by June, because the university students come out and then the competition you're going to face is going to be greater.
yeah. They take all
But
the
he
jobs.
didn't,
Yeah.
absolutely. But he didn't seem bothered. So I realize now he realizes that, yes, I'm also heading in a financial bind. So you have the emotional, you have the financial, and the issues, whatever issues he's facing, they are now compounded.
Yeah.
And he is getting very, very short.
Mm.
And I would say to some degree angry.
Yeah.
Anyway, my daughter is now 5 months old, 5 weeks, I'm sorry.
Okay.
And this tropical cyclone hits Jamaica, where I was living at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it is devastating to the country. It has been recorded as the most intense tropical cyclone of the 20th century.
Mm.
Houses across the island lost their roofs, including mine. And I held my 5-week-old baby and
Mm.
watched rainwater pouring through my living room.
Wow.
The only areas that were spared were the kitchen, the den,
Mm-hmm.
and the children's bedroom.
Oh, wow.
All the other areas had leaks of some degree.
Okay. Yeah.
What was fortunate for me is that my mom was with me.
Mm-hmm.
She had come to visit, because of the arrival of the new baby and to give
Yeah.
me a hand. So she was there. So I had a neighbor who I was very friendly with. And she said to me, "Oh, you guys had better come up and spend the night or a few nights because, I have nothing compared to what you have.
Mm-hmm.
So myself and the two kids went and we spent the night with her. My mom went to another friend who we knew very well. And a couple of days later, I had another relative who said, "You come over because we have light, we have water. The only thing is that we don't have telephone." So most of the electrical system was down. The power company had deliberately cut it to prevent, anything, fires
Yeah.
or electrical
Right.
fires or otherwise. So most places had no electricity, no water,
Mm-hmm.
and most people had phone lines down. And those were not the days when mobile phones were mainstream, right?
Okay.
So I went, he took us over to my cousins. They were
Mm-hmm.
in a new townhouse, so they had so much less damage. So when we arrived there, I said to him, "So, what are you doing?" And he said to me, "Oh, where I'm going, you can't come."
Mm.
So again,
Wow.
that's another layer of shock. So it's
Yeah, just
piling on,
drop.
it's
Yeah.
piling on, it's piling on, and it's piling on rapidly. So I learned by this that, well, subsequently that he had gone to an older cousin's. And so we were left with my cousin.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, within about 3 days, my brother and sister were able to come. The roads were clear enough that they could drive and they could come and pick us up. And
Yeah.
so they did. So my mom, myself, and the two kids headed back to my parents' home. And we heard nothing from him pretty much for maybe a month.
Mm.
And after about a month or so, the baby started having swallowing issues
Mm.
and took her to the pediatrician. My brother said, "Come, let's go to my pediatrician and check
Yeah.
this out." When we arrived, he said, "Yes, she has throat ulcers and she's not able to
Mm.
swallow."
Oh
And I
no.
said, "So what can you do?" He says,
Yeah.
"Oh, we can't do anything. You're going to have to wait for about a week." So my brother said, "Oh, no, because by this, she is less than 2 months old
Yeah.
still." And so he says, "I'm going to Kingston tomorrow. Come with me and you go back to your pediatrician." So I said, "Yes." So we packed up, went to Kingston the following day, went to my pediatrician. She confirmed the diagnosis, but she said, "Look, I'm sending you down to the ENT specialist who I already knew.
Mm-hmm.
So you go there because this needs urgent attention and this is not
Right.
my forte." So I went and he confirmed the diagnosis and said, "Yes, I'm going to give you something to paint the ulcers because they are painful. And once you paint them, it will deaden the area and she'll be able to start breastfeeding again.
Okay.
And that would take you anywhere from 5 to 7 weeks for her to get back to normal." So as it happened, according to exactly what he said.
Mm.
And so, as they say, the rest is history.
Yeah.
I tried to notify her dad that this was happening and
Mhm.
that he could come and visit. Crickets.
Okay.
So by now, I know that things are unraveling. I don't know the extent to which they're unraveling, but I could see that they're unraveling. So we
Mm-hmm.
spent approximately 3 months at my parents', and during that time, he visited only once.
Um.
No form of support was coming at
Mm-hmm.
that time. So there was no
Right.
emotional support, no financial support. It was just a one-off visit. So the house where we were living was owned by an elderly woman, and she
Mm-hmm.
had agreed that once I wanted to come back, she would have had the house repaired. So she started repairing the house because I was on maternity leave and I
Mm-hmm.
needed to go back to my job.
Right.
So on one visit to see how they were going, my elderly next door neighbor, who was could have been my mom at the time, but we had a very good relationship. I went to say hello to her, and she said, "Oh, by the way, I saw your husband come across and looked, and he came over and told me that he's not coming back." And
Mm-hmm.
I said to myself, "Well, fancy him telling you, but he hasn't told me."
Right.
Anyway, by now it is almost 4 months since I've been on maternity leave. It was in December of that year. And so it was time to return. So we packed up, returned to the original place of residence,
Okay.
and tried to get on with what we hoped would have been a normal life. So I went
Mm-hmm.
back to my work. By this time, he still doesn't have a job. And he has tried a business which is dismally failing, because something I've always learned, if you start a business and you have no related skill sets, that's problematic in itself. You can be
Right. It's
easily
nothing.
easily sabotaged.
Yes.
And so his whole what should I say, psychological system just continues to fray. And so he becomes very volatile.
Mm.
And the verbal escalation, verbal abuse.
Okay.
Looking back, I do not regret what I did.
Yeah.
What I have always believed, based on the kind of parenting that I had, was
Mm-hmm.
that children must never be deprived of any parental input,
Okay.
that it is a disservice you do to your children. So I allowed him access. He could come
Mm-hmm.
any time of day and visit them, because there was usually somebody at home.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly for the first month or so when I returned, my mother was there again.
Okay.
And so, as I mentioned before, he became very verbally abusive, on issues that were totally unrelated to the
Yeah.
relationship. To me, it just
Mm-hmm.
reflected his own insecurities at the
Mm-hmm.
time.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when we see people acting out, it is related to how they themselves feel about themselves.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
not how the other person is thinking about you.
Right.
It's those little voices that are diminishing you from within, and you are
Mm-hmm.
responding to them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that went on for a period, and I just focused on keeping my own physical and emotional health and keeping my children healthy.
Right.
I At the time, I think that I just tuned out
Okay.
of what was happening on his end. Because
Mm-hmm.
if I had imbibed it, if I had taken it on, my response would have been responsive and equally volatile, and maybe it would have
Yeah.
escalated to the point of possible violence.
Okay.
And the personality that I have is not a doormat personality.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of being reactive, because
Oh, I'm
in that
sorry.
situation,
I'm sorry, Clover. Can you repeat that? It froze for a minute. Go ahead.
okay,
And instead of
yes, I'm saying that I look back now and wonder, based on my own personality, I'm a very strong-willed person,
yeah.
and how I managed to have been so self-controlled, and that I was so responsive as opposed to being reactive. Because
Mm-hmm.
had I been reactive, I certainly probably would have facilitated escalation to the point of violence.
Yeah. Back and
And
forth. Yeah.
so I am very glad that I didn't. And for anybody listening, I would say to you, co-parenting is one of the most testy relationships, but you have to focus on what is in the best interest of your children. And
Yeah.
oftentimes, from an emotional and psychological point of view, what is in the best interest of your children is also in the best interest of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you are volatile and you are in an emotional and psychological roller coaster and you're always hitting back, you are not going to be on the emotional level
Right.
or stability to be able to be that source of nurture for them, which
Mm-hmm.
children need, especially during their
Yeah.
early
And they can
years.
feel that. Like they physically can feel your energy.
Energy
So if
is
you're up
felt.
here, they're gonna be up here. And you'll be like, these kids are bad. They're not bad. They're reacting off of the energy they feel. Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So energy. And I must say also that what also kept me was my faith. And I always have to speak about this because
Mm-hmm.
it was a time where I was totally focused on my relationship with Jesus Christ and asking him to see me through this period of my life because
Mm-hmm.
it was beyond my own personal human capacity.
Right.
Because one, I was not expecting a breakup. Two, I was
Mm-hmm.
not expecting the reaction on the other side. And
Mm-hmm.
also because of all the deficiencies that came from the paternal parenting side.
Okay.
Even if somebody wants to get back at the mom of their children,
Mm-hmm.
normally they try to show up with even the very basics of who they should be as a father,
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
that was not happening.
Wow.
So that for me cut much deeper into my pain
Right.
because I was now comparing my life with the life I had of growing up with two supportive parents who were so children focused. Children
Mm-hmm.
first was their mantra.
Okay.
So my cognitive dissonance was just, increasing
Yeah.
every day of life.
Right.
And so I had to just hold myself together and
Yeah.
trust that God was holding me too. And I had a supportive community of family and friends who showed up in a way way beyond what I would ever have imagined.
Yeah. Sound like you
And
had a community like along the way too. Mm-hmm.
yes, I had a community, who I call my Whoville or my inner circle, whatever you want to call them. We
Yes.
all have them. And
Mm-hmm.
these people will show up in your time of need.
Right.
So a lot of times, many of us feel that we should withdraw because of the shame we feel.
Mm-hmm.
There's no need to feel shame.
Yeah.
I mean, shame and fear are the two emotions
Mm-hmm.
that we default to when we are faced in situations of heartbreak because we don't want anybody to know. We don't want to share how we are
Yes.
feeling.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Well, I am here to tell you that shame is a tool of isolation and disconnection.
Yes.
The antidote for shame is self-compassion.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
kindness. It's treating yourself with kindness.
Yes. Yes.
And treating yourself with kindness means accepting kindness from others.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's
And that's where
very,
that
very
community comes
important.
from. Yeah.
Yes.
Allowing the community to plug in the holes
Mm-hmm.
to
Yeah.
fill you up. Yeah.
So we have to learn to unshame ourselves and place that shame where it should be
Yeah.
and focus on ourselves because shame is not a tool of growth or transformation. It's
Mm-hmm.
a weapon that we can actually use against ourselves to prevent ourselves from rising
Yeah.
and moving forward.
Right.
Self-compassion is how we build the capacity to withstand the pain or the season of pain that we are going through and still being able to move forward one
Yeah.
step at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Any movement
Mm-hmm.
is movement, one
Right.
step at a time. I always say to clients and to other people, don't take life in gulps when you are in a season of pain. Just take it in small bites and small sips because you don't want to put yourself in overwhelm. Because the purpose of moving forward is
Mm-hmm.
building your self-worth. And so when we talk about moving forward, self-compassion and self-care is part of that.
Yeah.
And your self-compassion and self-care has to be built around a plan of activities that facilitate your growth and your healing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And self-care can be something as small as going for morning walks,
Mm-hmm.
however often you want to do it.
Right.
It can be going to have your mani and pedi once a week or once a month or however you
Mm-hmm.
can do it.
Mm-hmm.
It can be hanging out with a close friend for lunch, however often you want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It can also be taking on a hobby that makes you feel good about yourself. It could be one that
Yeah.
earns you income,
Mm-hmm.
but it could be also one where you are building a skill and sharing that skill.
Right. Just makes you happy to do.
It
Yeah.
just makes you happy. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
the idea. It's building a feel good factor for you because you so need it during
Mm-hmm.
heartbreak. And it doesn't matter what the season of heartbreak is. And also, it could be something as big as a career change. It,
Mm-hmm.
because of these kids, do I now want to work from home?
Right.
Is this something that I can do with my current job? Or do I want to segue into my own personal business
Mm-hmm.
so that I have more flex time with my kids and I can build my work activities around them.
Mm-hmm.
So I am able to share available kids time and available work time.
Right.
So self-care for each of us is going to look very different. My self-care, again, was a lot of it was faith building, going to
Mm-hmm.
prayer meetings with friends,
Yeah.
going to all sorts of these activities where I saw women being healed from many different physical healing, emotional healing. I
Yeah.
saw marriages coming back together. So for each and every one of us, it's different. And this is
Yeah.
a big one for
Mm-hmm.
me.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes when you are down in the dumps and you step out to help somebody who looks as if they even have a bigger problem than you
Mm-hmm.
become so distracted that sometimes your own situation just takes second place.
Yeah.
And that can be immeasurably healing,
Yeah. That
right?
disconnection. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When that focus changes to somebody else's needs over
Mm-hmm.
your needs. So I would say to anybody, look for an area of need
Mm-hmm.
where you really think you connect
Yeah.
and see how uplifting and how healing that is because you
Mm-hmm.
feel needed, you feel that you're contributing, and you're actually really blessing somebody.
Yes. Purpose. It gives meaning, new meaning for you.
Exactly. You are
Mm-hmm.
creating purpose for yourself. So
Mm-hmm.
you are now distracted from what is your heartbreak,
Yeah.
and you are now focused on uplifting somebody else. And as I
Mm-hmm.
said, it's immeasurably um,
Yeah.
uplifting
That's
and,
healing.
and
It's
purposeful.
Yeah, the self-care and practicing self-compassion is healing for you. And although, some people try to avoid heartbreak by either replacing it with someone else or dwelling on it or trying to figure out what went wrong and trying to get closure. Like you said, you didn't get the closure. You didn't get everything is like retrospective now, like looking back. You didn't get it at the time, but that's beautiful that you filled your spirit and then you found areas of need that you could focus on.
Yeah, and there are times I'm not singular, so I'll never tell people. Some of
Yeah,
us never get closure.
yeah.
There are many things, not just in the
Mhm.
breakup of a relationship, that
Right.
we'll never get closure
You'll
for.
never know,
But
right?
when you, exactly, but when you find yourself in a co-parenting situation,
Mm-hmm.
you have to focus on your children. And I often say the co-parenting refers to cooperation, communication, and consistency.
Uh-oh.
And
Collaboration,
it,
communication,
yes,
consistency. Okay.
cooperation, communication, and consistency.
Okay.
And as we transform the relationship from being lovers to caregivers,
Mm-hmm.
there are some foundational attitudes and practices that we must develop.
Okay. And
And
what are
the
those?
first one is the child-centered mindset.
Okay.
Yeah. The second one is building mutual respect.
Yes.
The third, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. You cannot co-parent in
Without the
bitterness
respect, right?
and undercutting the other person. That's not co-parenting.
Yes, confusion.
That's
And
confusion.
that's not part of your three codes.
Yes.
So,
In as much as it is possible, create flexible but predictable routines.
yes. Okay. Yeah.
And at all cost, avoid negative talk about the other parent.
Right.
Because the child or children belong to each person. And when
Right.
you undercut the other person and denigrate them, you are actually affecting that child's self-esteem.
Yes, like you're talking about them, like a part of them.
A part of them,
Yeah.
exactly.
Mhm.
So when we talk about co-parenting, I also want to be clear that co-parenting should be shared co-parenting, shared parenting, shared. And I want to emphasize that.
Okay. Explain what
Right?
that means. Shared.
Right. I'm going to get there, sure.
Okay.
And so it is about avoiding conflict and building a shared parenting ecosystem where both parents, not one, they're actively, consistently, and meaningfully involved in the lives of their children.
Okay.
A lot of us talk about co-parenting as if it's something on paper. It's shared parenting is 50-50 and should not be on paper. It's shared responsibility, decision making, and emotional investment. Right? Not just mom as nurturer and father as provider. That is absolutely nonsense. Those stereotypes are dead and they are killing the relationship. The end of the romantic relationship should never mean the end of parenting, even though it happens in many cases. That the children become casualties of the end of the romance.
Yes. Yep.
Child-centered, not ego-centered, is what's best for our children. And if we ask ourselves the question each time, what does my child need from me right now? Instead of what do I want? Because it's not about you or it's not about me. Children, it's about our children. And research has shown time and time again, this is documented, that children whose parents work together, they thrive emotionally, socially, and academically as long as the parents stay engaged in the parental relationship.
Together, right.
The opposite of that is dysfunction. And I'm not going to go into all those details today.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm sure we know about dysfunction. Yes.
Yeah. And shared parenting doesn't just happen on a weekend. So for those people who think, okay, dad can have them on weekend and holidays, no, that is not what it is.
That's not it. Yeah.
Shared parenting, it's actually carrying out the function of a parent. It's being a functioning and a functional parent. So you are involved in the everyday responsibilities of school, of health, routines, discipline. So you know who your child's doctor is. You know what that child's health issue is. You are part of the decision making, what school they go to, values, discipline, emotional availability. Your child can call on you anytime and you're available. Both parents are co-pilots. They are not, one is not a visitor. So like one parent is just keeping, I'm just calling to keep you in the loop. No, that's not parenting. That is not. It's not parenting. And cooperation over competition. No, your children are really not interested in that. They are really interested in you being emotionally available, being there for them, and so that they feel that if there's a problem, that you will respond. It's
Right.
not my house versus your house.
Right.
It's a parenting team with two homes,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, it has to be centered around a common set of rules, routines, and a language.
Yes.
And I talk about the language because it is one of the most important tenets of the best practices of shared parenting.
Okay.
In that we are no longer together, but we need to develop some sort of team talk. Your mother and I have
Like
decided
that. Yes.
we,
A
right?
team. Yes.
Exactly. And so when you use the team talk, you get a lot of the venom out of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it is often suggested, and I know people their hair will stand on end when I say that, couples counseling. And when I say couples counseling, I'm not talking about marriage counseling.
Yeah.
I'm talking about counseling that's specific to your communication with each other.
Yes.
Because
Communication.
oftentimes, especially when we just break up 4, 5, 6 months, and even
Mm-hmm.
after that, the talk is so retributive, it's so biting and cutting and denigrating that sometimes one person has to literally switch the phone off, or
Yeah.
they can only communicate by email or by a parenting app.
Mm-hmm.
And when your children see that, that is also not healthy.
Yes. And that can linger on for years.
It exactly. So you do yourself the best support, communication support, by trying to address this deficit because you know it's there. You know
Yeah.
the emotional boil is there. You know the emotional turmoil is there, and we
Right.
know it. So there, don't push it under the rug.
Right.
Get the help that you need
Mm-hmm.
because you need to put personal feelings out of the relationship because it's about your children.
Children. Right.
Healthy boundaries. You are now running a business. So think of it like that. I often say to people,
Mm-hmm.
think of it as a business.
Yeah.
If you both were involved in a business, would you just grab your shares and run and sink the other person?
Mm.
I doubt that, or I should hope not.
Yeah. Hope not.
So
Hoping.
your best practice is to put yourself in a conflict avoidance frame
Okay.
of operation, both
Mm-hmm.
mentally and emotional. Because if the other parent goes under, your
Mm.
child is going to suffer a deficit. And it doesn't matter which parent, because
Yeah.
someone will be kneecapped and they will not be able to be functioning at full capacity.
Mm-hmm. That is so true. Oh my goodness.
Right.
Yes.
So you focus on your communication and you treat it like a business. Do I want to destroy this business? Do I want to devalue the shares of this business?
Mm-hmm.
Focus on the clarity of your responsibilities and avoid the gatekeeping.
Right.
Avoid conflict and
Yeah.
focus on escalation because you're going to have conflict. There's no way you can
No way
totally
around
eliminate
that.
conflict.
Yeah.
No way around it in any relationship. But
Right.
this one is so important to your children that you need to be focused on always de-escalating when you see it coming.
Mm-hmm. And that's a
And
part of
some
the communication skills that you said we need to learn, yeah.
absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely. And in doing so, a lot of what happens in the shared parenting space is around changes because life happens. So whether
Mm-hmm.
it's changes in your work schedule, school events, emergencies, the other parent must be able to call for help,
Yeah.
right? They must be able to call for backup.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how relationships work. Otherwise, it's not a relationship.
Right.
So you have to negotiate all the time in good faith and not stacking up points, whether they be good or bad. But
Mm-hmm.
it's about building trust and maintaining it from
Ooh, and
being
that's hard.
consistent and being
Mhm.
reliable and following through.
Yeah.
Because if every time one parent has a problem, say you have a child that's asthmatic, and I had 2 children who were asthmatic in the early days,
Mm.
there was no point in those first 7 years of those children's lives that I could call their dad.
Yeah.
No, I would not be getting a response.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it was to take them to the doctor to fill a prescription, it was not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But I had friends, that same inner circle that I talk about,
Yeah.
who would quickly come, grab a prescription, and if needs be, take them to the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Bring me some Vicks liquid to put in that vaporizer.
Yeah.
But it was not their dad. And
Right.
sometimes the simplest of tasks is so important to relieving your stress levels
Yeah.
that you are so grateful in that moment. But can you
Mm-hmm.
imagine? You can't call the person who is closest to that child biologically anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So, and most important, or maybe a cumulative putting together of everything,
Mm-hmm.
is how we model healthy relationships for our children.
Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. Modeling is huge. Yeah.
It is huge. And just this week, I was on Instagram and I was listening. 'Cause I like to listen to the men. I really do.
Yeah.
Because I know this, I know the women's side. I've been through it and I know it.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard a guy say that he says, even though I'm divorced, I tell my children, don't talk to my wife like that.
Okay.
And when he said that, I was really struck because I know of people doing that in a marriage.
Yeah.
But the point he was making was so potent and salient because he's saying that if you don't establish the authority of the other parents and the value of the other parent before they get to teenage years,
Ooh.
in the teenage years, you are not going to be able to control them and to bring them into that space of respect that you need
So
for each
true.
parent.
So
And it
true.
is so true. It is so true.
Yes.
And also, many of us do not believe that mom and dads have separate roles. And when I say separate roles, I'm not talking about roles in terms of what you do for your children. I'm talking
Mm-hmm.
about types of leadership.
All right.
If the dad is always denigrating the mom, that boy is going to believe that that's how you treat women.
Mm.
And your daughter is going to say, that's the behavior that I am to accept.
Right.
So whichever way you slice and dice it, if you do not establish that leadership of how people are to be treated,
Right.
you are sending your children in the direction of dysfunction.
Right.
So you may win in the short run. You may win a couple of years.
Not in the long.
But when they get to teenage years and they are now testing everyone, and you see that actual behavior that you have exhibited reflected in them, that the lesson may have been learned too late.
Yeah.
So cooperation shows children a safe, loving environment.
Mm-hmm.
And that respect doesn't end when a relationship ends.
Mm-hmm.
And that love and responsibilities can coexist with boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And whether or not they get married or not later on in life,
Mm-hmm.
they are going to have to use these skill sets and practices in relationships with work colleagues, relationships with family members.
Right.
So it's very important that we teach them life skills that they are going to be able to use right into adulthood.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there are times, and I'm not going to avoid mentioning this, there are times when shared parenting is not possible.
Yeah.
And that is due to cases of violence,
Mm-hmm.
abuse,
Mm-hmm.
and abject neglect, and sometimes severity of mental health issues.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So only in these situations should it look different.
Yeah. Right.
And for reasons that I don't think we need to
pretty
expand.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So healthy co-parenting is or shared parenting, which
Yeah.
is really the healthy way.
Yeah.
It's not about being friends with your
Right.
ex.
Mm-hmm.
It is about being a functional and functioning parent for your children.
That
Who
team.
team you show up, you remain consistent,
Mm-hmm.
and you make the child the center of the relationship,
Right.
not the casualty of your breakup. And
Right.
again, I want to repeat that.
Yes.
Shared parenting is where you make the child the center of the co-parenting relationship and not the casualty of your romance or the breakup of the relationship.
Okay, not the casual, the center, not the casualty. Right.
Right.
Yes.
You are no longer lovers, but you should remain partners in parenthood.
Yeah.
As long as they are children.
Right.
And I dare say, even it goes on beyond them being children, but it takes a new format.
Yeah.
Because you are going to be meeting them up for the baby blessings, for the graduations,
Yes.
for the engagement parties, for the
Right.
marriages.
The grandmas and grandpas. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's in the best interest of us as parents to model a relationship which reflects mutual respect and a shared commitment to the growth and development of our kids, to minimize the trauma that can come later on.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Oh my gosh, Clover. I felt all of that. Yes. That is so true. That is so true. I saw myself in all little bits and pieces of what you said. Yes, most definitely. And
Yes.
I wouldn't even just say that it's just for couples who have had a breakup or a divorce or anything like that. Even couples who are together and couples who may have a bump in the road in their marriage and trying to figure things out. And even this would be great information for young couples to have before they even have children, just because it does come up. You have two people who come from two different backgrounds and may have different values and beliefs, and you think you're on the same page, but when children come, you find out for sure, like, oh, we don't really think the same.
Absolutely. And there's also stuff that you just can't anticipate.
Yeah.
And I totally agree that as information becomes more readily available, and there are more people being so much more open to talking about issues like this.
Yes.
Because it's one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about it, because I grew up in a different parenting space. So nothing could have prepared me for what I experienced.
Yeah.
But having experienced it, and now that I know that more marriages are breaking up than the ones that are staying together, not to mention the relationships where people are having children when they're not married and they are breaking up.
Yeah.
That magnifies the whole trauma because it's happening to more and more people.
Yeah.
So talking about these issues, I am hoping will benefit women who are traveling this journey, that they may be able to take some of the nuggets from here and say, oh, that's happening to me. Maybe I could try this and see if, this can halt the slide or the decline. Maybe I could change my language. You know what? I don't need to take him to counseling with me. I can actually go to counseling by myself and say, how can I change the language? Sometimes I'm crass, sometimes I'm rough. Sometimes I want to say it in a gentler way. How can I do it? Because yes, I think what we need to remember as human beings, and it doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman, whether you're the dad or the mom, that you can actually introspect. You can say, you know what? I don't think I'm handling this situation very well. Let
Yes.
me see if I can check in with a therapist or a coach or a counselor and
Mhm.
just share this. Maybe I only need one or two. Maybe it's not a long-term thing, but I really need to nip this in the bud. I'm getting very, very testy when I talk
Mhm.
about a certain aspect of child rearing. And so let me go and see what an expert has to say.
Right. Yes. Like you said, be a human being and think again, what role am I playing in this situation that it's not working out? So, yeah, if we take responsibilities as women and as men, as mothers and as fathers, and say, I am going to work with you as a team versus you hurt me and I'm going to make you pay and I'm going to keep my kids from you or I'm going to take them away from you or
Mhm,
I'm going to take you to court or I'm going to disappear and not be involved with them at all because I don't want to deal with you. Like if we or act more maturely. Really, it takes some maturity
mhm,
to even get to this point, but to do the three C's that you said, the communication, the commitment,
mhm,
cooperate. I think we will see healthier children. We will see children that are able to communicate and they're able to cooperate when they're in
mhm,
relationships. And because right now we see a lot of trauma, we see all the struggles, we see the repercussions and the little mini angry moms and the little angry
mhm,
fathers. We see that
mhm,
in the children that we see
mhm,
today.
mhm.
They're not they are a casualty and
Yeah.
they do suffer. There's a lot of dysfunction.
Mhm,
And this is beautiful information for people to have so that they can
mhm,
either stop what they've done in the past and start again, think again, and do
mhm,
something different. Or if you don't have children yet, this is where your mindset needs to be, you and your partner, when you start having
mhm.
children.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yes, thank you, Clover. I'm so glad that we got a chance to connect, and I love all of the nuggets that you dropped on us today. It's really something that I encourage people to listen to once and then listen to again. Get your notebook, journals out, and just see like what can I do different, or where can I prepare myself for the future if you don't have children. So I appreciate everything that Clover has shared with us today and just really helped me to even reflect and look back on my own situation. So if you want to be a better parent, please consider co-parenting. And I thank you, Clover, for coming today. As always, to my audience, be the best you that you can be, one positive step at a time. Peace.